This is from mymodernmet.com. Inner monologue. People are shocked to discover that not everyone has an inner monologue. So the general idea, my understanding of what an inner monologue is like when you periodically talk to yourself about just thinking about concepts, plans, actions. Mm-hmm. So I think it's fair to point out, to a certain degree, I actually think in different ways on different things. So I've experienced this weird thing where I'll think in words and concept at the same time. So I can think on like two tracks.
Yeah.
Okay. I can also imagine music, images, ideas, and words at the same time.
Okay.
I wonder if this is just about people's ability to think in think in words.
I wonder if it's the power of the beanie.
It
definitely
is it you
is.
or is
Yeah.
it the beanie?
No, it's
Well,
the beanie.
this is actually something interesting people don't know, is that my dad was an archaeologist.
Did he wear a beanie also?
No, he discovered the beanie in an ancient tomb.
Oh.
And when he brought it back, banditos were trying to track down the power. They were working as mercenaries for the Soviets during the Cold War. This was 1986.
Yes.
And so he hid the beanie in my crib and kicked it into a river, where it floated away and was discovered by my adoptive parents. And they put the beanie on my head, and my eyes started glowing, and they're like, I'm kidding, by the way.
That's the story. No, this totally happened.
The point is, what I'm trying to say is that I think in a bunch of different ways.
Yeah.
And I wonder if this is just some people don't think, they think in, so I've talked to some people about it, and they say that, they maybe they just think in ideas and concepts. Mm-hmm. So it's not that they're not thinking at all, but it's kind of a bias because you think with language to yourself. You assume that because they don't, they're lesser or NPCs.
Right.
But the joke I would make is that this is proof NPCs are real. People who aren't actually thinking to themselves or an inner monologue. Because I wonder, the concept of an inner monologue doesn't necessarily mean language. It's your sentience, your understanding of yourself. It's you, right?
Well, you asked that guy, are you sentient? And he was
said
nope.
No.
Well, so people who may miss the context, I was talking to a friend about this 14 years ago, and a guy was walking down the street, and I was like, look, I'll prove it to you, this idea of simulation theory. And I asked a guy, hey, buddy, are you sentient? And he just looks at me and goes, no, and then just walks away. So I don't think he knew what it meant.
I think you just caught him off guard. I say dumb stuff when I'm caught off guard.
Sure. So, let's read this story and see what this is. But so actually, let me give a little bit more context. You may be familiar with the NPC meme. It means non-player character. The way to explain an NPC would be like if you're playing a video game, an RPG, and there's an innkeeper, and he can only say a few preset things. He never actually talks to you. But one way I explain it to people is some people don't play video games.
Right.
But everybody's played Mario. All right. When in Mario 1, you get to the castle and you beat it, and there's Toad, and then the words appear, and he says, thank you for saving me, but your princess is in another castle.
Yep.
Mario is controlled by you. You are playing the game, and you control Mario. Mm-hmm. Toad looks just like Mario does. I mean, he looks different, but he's a little person too. But no one is controlling Toad.
He's just there.
He's a non-player character.
Yeah.
So think about it that way, and then now move that up to real life. Oh. Imagine when you ever meet someone and they say stock, annoying, repetitive things.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like when you watch TV, like a reality TV show.
Too many times.
So these are the NPCs. Mm-hmm. I wonder if we could prove that there were some people who just don't think and are just mindless drones. It'd be horrifying implications for society. For sure.
I agree.
You want to read this one?
Sure, let's see here.
Let's go.
All right, people are shocked to discover that not everyone has an inner monologue. Well, have you ever had a conversation with yourself, one that took place inside your head? If so, you are one of the many that have an inner monologue, or an inner voice that narrates your thoughts throughout the day. But did you know that many people have no such inner dialogue? While that may seem strange to some, it's equally odd for someone who doesn't have an inner monologue to imagine how that manifests itself. That's interesting.
Weird.
It's so it is equally
but hold on.
Weird on the other side. They're like, will you talk to yourself?
Do you have an inner monologue?
I do.
And Lydia, do you?
I do. I ask myself a lot of questions.
Yeah, me too.
Well, it's not like I'm, thinking I'm scrolling this mouse right now. No. I'm picking up my phone and calling my mother. It's more like, you got this trick. I'm not going to say it out loud, but I'm thinking in my head, all right, I can do this.
I know what I'm
right.
doing.
This kickflip. I know. Or think all right, I didn't do that correctly, but I can, and it's interesting. I'm not necessarily always saying it to myself, but sometimes I am you got this, you got this trick, or this is just the first thing that pops in my head, but I'm also visibly seeing myself what I'm supposed to do to get it. and that also helps.
You know how I was saying earlier that like I can like imagine a sound, an image, as well as ideas and words. I think that has to do with the things I've like grown up doing. So I'm playing music, so I'd have to imagine the sounds in my head to tune my guitar by ear.
Right.
I hear it and I have to like, yes, that's right.
Right.
I've done video editing, so I'd have to imagine like the images of like what was being produced, and I guess from reading a lot, doing internet stuff, and like I used to program games when I was little, I would think in like words like, okay, what do I need to do this? And so all of these different things come together and manifest in this way. Like when I'm skateboarding, I will actually think in like skateboarding has its own language. So I'm definitely thinking words and images, and I'm physically visualizing and imagining all the movements that come with it.
Physically visualizing. That's
like
I've never
let me explain that better
before.
I'm imagining in my head slow motion what I need to do to make a skateboarding trick work.
Right, that's what I was talking about.
Right.
Like, because obviously I didn't get it, so I'm like, all right, what am I supposed to do to get it?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm thinking.
Let's read more. This is interesting.
All right, so the topic of inner speech has caused a stir on Twitter after a user Kyle Plant Emoji put out his own observation on the matter. Quote, fun fact, some people have internal narrative and some don't, he tweeted. As in, some people's thoughts are like sentences they hear, and some people just have abstract nonverbal thoughts and have to consciously verbalize them, and most people aren't aware of the other type of person.
What?
Whoa.
Yeah,
It seems so weird to me.
Yeah, he like discovered it. That's where I first heard it. I saw this tweet back and forth between him and one of his friends, I guess, and they were talking about it, and he was like, his mind was blown.
Yeah.
That like the other person literally said the things out loud. Like it's not that they could see it in their head or like say it in whatever. They were actually going like, all right, I can do this. I can do this. All right, I'm gonna land this trick.
But hold on.
Saying it all out loud, like they couldn't
that doesn't make sense to me. You know why? There's a saying. Do you ever think before you speak?
Well, they don't. That's what it's saying.
So
that's what that person who he was talking to was saying to him. Like, no, I have to say it out loud. I have to like prep myself out loud. I say it out loud.
I don't understand how that makes sense.
That's so
it's
weird
impossible to me.
But that confusion that you feel right now is exactly what he was explaining. Like
right.
He was like, I don't get it. How can you not just say words in your head? And they're saying like the other side of the coin is it's equally confusing that how do you do it? Like, how does that make any sense?
Well,
I don't understand the cause of it.
There must be some middle ground because sometimes I have a really clear inner monologue and sometimes I don't. Like I brought this up the other night. I was washing my hands and I was thinking about this because I was asking myself questions about how it could possibly be that some people don't have an inner monologue. I was like, how does this work? Do you think this is possible that X, Y, and Z? And I was like, oh my gosh, there's my inner monologue. It was really funny.
I think, therefore I am.
Let's see. So the phenomenon itself has been debated for years by scientists. Psychologists began looking into the function of the inner speech in the 1930s. It was a Russian psychologist, Lev Vygotsky, who suggested that external conversation can be internalized. He even proposed this inner speech was highly abbreviated and included a lot of omissions. The idea that of external speech became internalized is also supported by the evidence that it's the same part of the brain, Broca's area, that deals with both.
Wow.
That is really interesting.
Interesting.
So if you have no inner monologue, you should be here. Give me that. Let me do that. So if you have no inner monologue, should you be worried? Not really. Studies show that some individuals never experience it at all, while others only experience it occasionally. I'm confident that inner speech is a robust phenomenon, and if you use a proper method, there's little doubt about whether or not inner speech is occurring at any given moment. Interesting, writes Russell T. Hurlburt, professor of psychology at the University of Nevada. And I'm confident about the individual differences. Some people talk about it to themselves a lot, some never, some occasionally. It's interesting.
So what you're saying is that they're NPCs, and the inner monologue is the supreme brain, and we rule.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Rick and Morty when they go to the planet with like the people have different nipples.
Oh, yeah.
And so they're like, the cone nipple and the spiral nipple or whatever, and they find a reason to be racist.
Right.
Yeah, they manage.
So like, do you have an inner monologue? No, do you? And they fight. So I wonder though, the way they're framing it is like in defense of people who don't have one. But I got to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who doesn't.
I don't either.
Is that a weird thing?
Well,
What's up with that?
You just said like they find a way to be racist, and they asked, "Do you have an inner monologue?" it's like I kind of want to start asking people because I want to
that's
talk
a
to
great
somebody.
conversation
It's like,
starter.
hey, do you have
dude.
an inner monologue?
What if you run
No.
across someone who
Can
doesn't?
I rack your brain?
Are you an NPC?
It's like-
and how do you rack the brain if they don't have anything in there?
It's so weird.
Obviously they have something in there, but
yeah, right.
I don't think
it's like,
every sentence before I say it.
no, obviously not. Yeah,
But-
I don't either.
Often, I'm sitting here thinking in words to myself, going over ideas and concepts. There's a memorization technique that you can use different kinds of memorization, but I guess if you don't have an inner monologue, you can't.
Yeah.
So there's a couple things that I do. I used to work in fundraising, and I could memorize a 16-digit credit card in 1 second of looking at it. Like you flash it in front of me, I got it.
Wow.
So what I would do is it's a few things: photographic memory, verbal memory, and like I guess written memory. So I would segment out portions so that I would remember the image, I would say it to myself, and then I would remember like the numbers as individual numbers. So it's actually a really funny story, and I'm just gonna tell it. It's gonna get me in trouble, but I'm gonna tell the story anyway.
Do it.
So I was at a Boost Mobile. Well, it's not gonna get me in trouble. It's gonna it's gonna get this guy in trouble. And apparently, Robin Williams had a Boost Mobile account. So one of the employees was going through their database and found the name and took the number down because he thought it would be cool if he had it. So I was getting actually, no, it was a Radio Shack. This was a long time ago. This was like 13 years ago.
Okay.
And so this guy takes his phone. I was going there to put $20 on my Boost Mobile phone to get it turned on or whatever. And I go in there and I'm talking, and this guy's talking to somebody and he's bragging. And he starts bragging about how he got Robin Williams' phone number. And so I'm standing there waiting to pay, and I go, "No, I don't believe you." And he's like, "You don't believe me?" And I was like, "Nah, you're just blowing smoke." And he goes, "Oh yeah?" He pulls it up and he holds it for about a second and puts it away. And I went, 893-726-5431. And he went, "Oh, dude, no. And I put it in my phone right away. I'm like, "Thanks for the number, bro."
What?
And I'm pretty sure it was real.
Did you try it?
I'm sure you.
No,
did
I
not.
didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Nah.
But I'll just say I have reason to believe it was actually his number.
So I was thinking about something. Do you think that this inner monologue ability, I guess, it's an ability that some people don't have, has to do with IQ? Like the higher your IQ, the more your brain functions.
This is why I brought up.
I don't think so.
This is why I brought up the memory thing.
Why wouldn't it though?
Because my IQ is not super high.
Okay.
I don't think, and I have an extremely.
Well, do you not know?
Well, no, I haven't checked.
Well, hold
Okay.
on.
Yeah.
This is why I brought up the memory thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you don't have an inner monologue, then you can't memorize things the way I just explained I do.
Right.
And
having a high IQ, you are more likely to be able to do stuff like that. And for the record, the average IQ is fairly low.
It is actually pretty low. Yeah.
So I mean, you and I have had many conversations.
Well, no, the average IQ is average.
Okay.
Well, it's
100.
lower than you would think.
No.
Sure, it's average.
The average
but that
IQ
number,
It's average?
Hold on.
That number.
The average
seems
IQ
pretty-
person is not that smart.
Right.
Typical to what most people assume they are.
But I'm just curious
But average
if
is
there's,
average.
if there's some sort of correlation between the two, and what I was saying is we've had many conversations.
Right.
You're pretty articulate, you're pretty logical and, with it. And I feel like you would have a higher than average IQ.
So Jesus
I don't
just
know.
wants to believe he has a really high IQ.
I'm not saying that I even do.
That's a good question.
I
That
don't
is a good
I don't
question.
know. I've never taken a test, but
Well,
Somebody-
I have an
just curious.
IQ of like 200.
I'm just
and
putting
like
I'm putting the
Okay,
question. That's
290.
really crazy. That's like
I'm
a
kidding.
super genius.
Nah, my
I think
IQ
it's
is
like
probably like
145. I think you're a genius, but
Okay.
no.
wait.
I just want to know if there is a correlation. I'm not talking about any of
I'd
us
say yes.
at all.
Possible.
I bet there was.
Yeah,
I
I think so.
think that it comes down.
It comes down to this. There are people who have inner monologues and lead normal lives, and there are people without who go and buy all of the toilet paper from a store
Right?
and fight with people in the aisles,
aisles.
boxing each other for toilet paper.
Hmm.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show every Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., sometimes an hour or two. And we do have a full live recorded version of the show that includes a lot of comments and smaller segments you probably don't see. If you want to check that out, you can watch live at 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, or become a member of this channel. And for $5 a month, you get full access to all of the recorded podcasts. Every day after the show, we make them available in the community section of this YouTube channel. So don't forget to subscribe and stick around for more segments and more shows Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Thanks for hanging out. and we will see you all in the next show.